Hi everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. It does look like it's on the retrace here, of course, a bit of a struggle to the downside, but that's pretty much expected. I mean, massively overextended leading into that $73,600 mark yesterday. We were $200 shy from our all-time high. So that is a pretty big deal considering the overall sentiment of what's going on here. So I've got on my chart here just a potential play out from last night. Considering the possibility of the price being range bound here to perform in a bullish rectangle pattern and break to the upside, or we lose that support at 71,800 roughly, and we continue down to this lower 70.5K fib level, or just potentially retrace to retest that ascending trend. So there's a handful of little things that can and should happen. Obviously it will happen one way or the other, depending on how you look at it, but the truth is we want to look at some liquidation levels first and kind of double check that. Oh, quick congrats to our community members for some nice profit on our Bitcoin short. We shorted from 72,950 to 71,450. So 71,450 caught that perfect little candle wick down there for a good 21% in 20 hours. Also caught an SUI short on our day trading bot too, which is super cool because I don't have the balls to short that coin, honestly, from a swing trader's perspective, but I'm glad my day trading bots are comfortable with that. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin. What are we looking at here? First of all, this last 7 days liquidation. It's kind of sparse and sporadic, so why don't we take a look at the last 12 hours? It might be a little bit more specific, so we can kind of see where the incentive is for the price action. So we are kind of smack dab in the middle of this range here. So we got 72.5 to 73K is a slightly larger concentration on the upside, then 71.5 down as low as about 71,000. So really, it doesn't tell us too much. The important thing to recognize is that there is a lot of people shorting this coin right now, which is absolutely sensible. We're part of that demographic, and we can see, of course, most of the stop losses and or liquidation events are in that $74,000 mark, plus or minus 500. So the general consensus is that it's pretty safe to short at that level because that's our all-time high, right? It's going to be a logical resistance level. What's also logical too is for us to see a candle wick up, if just say the price starts to continue higher here, to wick up to that 75K or 74.5K mark, and then just to pull back from there. That would be a sensible thing too. It's really common to sweep that last level of liquidation here for like, it could be a power of 3, a little bit of a run there where the price wicks up and then just dumps. Or it continues higher, but I think the probability of a Bitcoin running from here is pretty low if we don't build out that base. We need to have a base of volume in that 70K range, which is happening right now. It's a good sign. What isn't good here is this liquidation delta here being still really high. I think it's somewhere in the range, maybe about 8 billion as a rough estimate there. That's way too many longs in the market, okay? So again, one of two things need to happen. Either the longs need to get liquidated or they need to secure profits. The problem here is that we have so many high leverage longs and or shorts in the market at any given time that this causes this to get very large very fast, and that's why we see reversals quicker in crypto than we do other markets, just because there's so much greed and way too much leverage, okay? So those are likely way too high leverage shorts and or more so longs there, but still, they're probably gonna have a bad day here soon if they don't consider securing profits. And greed is a very real thing. People seem to think that we're going to the moon because they're probably watching a bunch of moon boys. And that while the truth is we're close to emerging into all-time high territory, really folks, $100,000 tomorrow, that's just not realistic, okay? But again, we wouldn't have said that 74K was realistic a couple of days ago too. So that's the funny thing about it. Crypto is absolutely insane sometimes. The most amount of interest we have right now, or open interest for Bitcoin, is just shy of 70,000. So we could say 70K is that tentative support level. Based on open interest, we have a lot of positions open at that level. So the most amount in the last, what's the period for this one here? Again, this is the last 7 days. So in the last 7 days, more people are long at 70K than they are below or above it. Okay, so that's kind of what that tells us here. Let's take a look here at the daily, kind of see what's going on. Double check a few key factors. So you got to recognize too, the daily time frame is going to be bullish for a while, even if we see a significant divergence here. So try not to misread this here, but the truth is we got a pretty significant fair value gap here, though. This is important to recognize. So far, it's got filled a little bit, but we do have a fair value gap from 71.5 down as low as 70,300. So there's about a $1,200 gap there that needs to get filled. It's not a guarantee they get filled because obviously we have one from previous in the 63 to 64K range that never got, nothing ever happened there. But at this point, with us being so close to it, it would make sense that 70,000-ish, right in that low 70K range, would be a sensible location. So if you're still in our Bitcoin shorts, I think it makes more sense to adjust your stop loss lower, ensure that you walk away in profit if the price does recover, but more importantly, expect the price to continue lower just based on that being a very real thing. Again, that's if you look at everything else, there's no real reason to consider a short. We took that short based on the simple fact that price was insanely overextended for too long. The the liquidation delta was too high. We had massive overextensions on every single time frame, and it got super greedy in that 73K range. So it just seemed sensible to kind of short at that level. We were patient at 70, 71, and 72K to take the short, and we found the right entry. So again, patience does pay off, but you're gonna miss a lot of opportunities too. That's just the way, that's the nature of it. Anyways, we're back under 70 on the RSI. That kind of lets us know that you should have secured profits on your long position by now. If you're still in a long right now, I think you're being uber greedy, and I think it's just a bad idea. Now, creating a new long position may be a different story altogether, but if you are already in a long, you should have considered securing profits. And securing profits looks different for everyone, by the way. You don't just close the entire position. Of course you can, but a lot of folks like myself will secure 70, 80, maybe 90%. Position size, let the rest ride, see what happens, because there's still potential for the price to recover from here and to stay range bound in this 72 to 73K range. Okay, keep in mind these red lines here, just to reiterate, 71,800 is a tentative support level based on previous candlestick closures in the past, and then this is also our highest close at 73,100. So these numbers aren't just random lines on the chart. They're super relevant to past behaviors here, where you can see the price action had the most difficulty crossing those levels. So the ones that, what do you know, coincidentally, they're working as supports right now, at least this $71,700 mark is. Okay, so that's that 4-hour time frame. We're still respecting our ascending trend line here. As long as we stay above the 20-day SMA, we can presume Bitcoin will continue higher in the overall sense. Not necessarily right now. It could very well pull back to 70,500 or lower. But 70.5 seems like a sensible area to either A, consider a long, or B, to close a short. Just a thought here. Okay, so take a look here. You can recognize we're also getting closer here too. Technically, from the 4-hour standpoint, this is saying that you should have your long position open still, but we're super close to considering securing profits. So that kind of speaks to what's already being present on the daily time frame. Depends on what time frame you prefer to use for confirmation. Me, the 4-hour is a little more powerful just because it's kind of transitionary and it moves a little faster. So in this case here, with us being really close to this, it would seem to make the most sense to secure profits on a long position. Okay, we're getting that confirmation on multiple time frames. Having said that, though, the money flow index is pulling back. That's pretty standard for the situation. MFI, I've never seen the MFI that high for so long. That was just absolutely ridiculous. MACD is diverging, and there's a lot of reasons here why we're seeing a shift in momentum, but we're still above a lot of moving averages. So the truth is, support levels are still present. We got to respect those, but we also got to understand that natural pullbacks like we're seeing right now is a very common thing in trading. So I'm not surprised by this at all. And I'm happy about it, honestly. It has to happen at some point, because without it, the next leg up will be, it would be a different situation altogether. You have to have in order to sustain a continuation, you have to have periods of consolidation. Like the fact that we ran for 72 hours straight with no pullback was insane. That is absolutely uncalled for. So shame on you, Bitcoin. Just kidding. Let's take a look here. The lagging span is intersecting with the price action now. 100% confirmation to close your long position. Lagging span, the conversion line, the baseline, they've also shifted gears, so we're seeing bearish movement, essentially a pullback, which is no surprise. And then we're still above the cloud. So technically, we've got 2 out of 3 reasons to not have a long position open, and 0 out of 3 reasons to consider a short. However, that goes with a grain of salt because of how overextended things are and the likelihood of price pulling back further. This indicator is very conservative, so until you cross below the cloud, to me personally, it's not really something you want to consider shorting into. But again, you can miss some opportunities with this because it's a good forecasting tool, but it's going to give you safer, more, again, conservative estimates there. So anyways, a little too early here, but the important thing is that the lagging span intersecting with the price action and or breaking to the downside. That's a significant sign for me to want to consider or basically leave our short position open for more profit. All right, so again, those are just kind of the cracks in the glass, the shifts in the momentum here. I'm thinking that 70.5K seems like a logical target. Again, don't just set a target right there at that level. Like for example, with our Bitcoin short, 71,450. Had I used a round number of 71,400, we wouldn't have got filled because the price wicked right there to that halfway point. So again, round numbers probably not the best idea as far as take profit targets are concerned. So just heads up on that. I wouldn't do 70,500. I would maybe go 70,600, right? Make sure you do that because that way you're going to be in the front of the line too when people because a lot of folks use round numbers. So I'm sure 70,000.5 will be a more common number in the order books than we'll see at 70,600. Okay, just some things to kind of think about. Okay, folks, that's all we got here for you. One last thing too, of course, we're having there's a new. If you missed this opportunity for Bitunix, there's another one next month. There was like a trading competition we're going to be rolling out with. So heads up on that. Use my link to register so you're eligible for any future endeavors with them. There's no KYC or VPN required with these folks, and they are awesome. So thanks again, Bitunix, for being a great part of our committee. And thanks again for everyone else who's been an awesome part of my life too. Deeply appreciate working with y'all every single day or every other day, depending on how often you want to tune in. But thanks again for hitting the like button, comment below. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.